Okay, welcome back to my arena card review for Descent of Dragons. For this video, I'm going to be going over Paladin, Priest, and Rogue and their cards. So let's start with Paladin here. We got Righteous Cause, side quest, win 5 minions, reward, give your minions +1/+1. So this card, I think it's only going to be it's going to be a 2-star card. At best, it may actually end up being a 1-star card. The problem with this is that it says summon 5 minions, but you don't necessarily get to control. You're not going to summon 5 minions on one turn in general. So you're going to, if you play this on 1, you'll summon maybe a couple minions on turn 2 and a couple minions on turn 3. And your opponent's going to know you have this quest, and they're going to clear those minions off. So what's likely going to end up happening is you only pay 1 mana for +2/+2 or +3/+3 worth of buffs. And it's not an immediate effect. It's an effect that happens after a few turns. So you have to give up your card for that. So ultimately, I think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be good. I think maybe 2 stars, high 1, low 2. Sand Breath. Give a minion +1/+2. Give it Divine Shield if you're holding a dragon. Paladin had a card, Divine Strength, which was give a minion +1/+2. So obviously power creeping on that card. But the problem with Divine Strength was that even though cost per mana, it was a great card, the stat distribution meant that it honestly did not do much all that often. And it's the same problem here. Even if you give a minion Divine Shield, you're still running into the same problem of you need to have a minion. You're not really doing all that much to the minion. You're not making all that many trades. So so I would say it's decent. It's a 2-star card, but it's not even if you get this, I'm not even sure if I would say give a Divine Shield, without the Dragon tag. Give a minion 1/2 and Divine Shield, I would say it was only a 3-star card. I wouldn't even say it's 4 stars. Right, Sanctuary. This is a 5-star card to me. So side quest, take no damage for a turn, reward, summon the 3/6 minion with taunt for 2 mana. So deal with this is, the reason it's a 5-star card is because it is so easy to trigger in the early game. All you need to do is have your opponent not play a 2-drop. Or sorry, not play a 1-drop. So if you go first, you play turn 1, your opponent passes turn 1, you play turn 2. If your opponent can't just hero power your face every turn, eventually this is going to stick. So maybe they'll hero power your face and they'll delay it, but it's going to get off at some point. If they play a 2-drop, unless that 2-drop can somehow charge the face or hit the face, then you're going to summon this on turn 2. Same thing. If you're a Paladin and you have the coin and you have this in your opening hand, turn 1, your opponent doesn't do anything, you coin this out on turn 1. It doesn't matter if you're hero powering on turn 2 and turn 3, you're going to basically be able to kill anything they play on turn 2 or turn 3 anyways. So it's insane power, and how easy it is to get off in the early game is the reason it's a 5-star card. And let's even say they have a 1-drop. If you play this, the opponent still has to attack your face. That means if you play a 3/4 on 3, your opponent can't trade with the 3/4. They have to attack your face so they do not get this taunt off. So ultimately, I think its early game power is more than enough to justify it being a 5-star card. It's very similar to Zombie Chow, where in the early game it's just so busted that it doesn't matter that it's mediocre to even bad in the late game. Bronze Explorer, 2/3 Lifesteal, Battlecry, discover a dragon. So 2/3 Lifesteal, this is fine. This can actually be really powerful later in the game if you have any buffs on it, any attack buffs or anything like that. Battlecry, discover dragon, obviously really good. This is a 4-star card. This is a card you want to pick up. There's not really much to say there. Dragon Rider, Talithra, Death Rattle, give dragon in your hand +3/+3 and this Death Rattle. I don't think you're going to be chaining this to more than one dragon, maybe if you're lucky. But in any case, this is a 3-star card. You're not giving that much up for the effect, and the effect is really, really powerful if it goes off. And as I said, it's just you need dragons for it, but I think the effect is powerful enough to justify going for dragons. Skyclaw, your other mechs have +1 attack. Battlecry, add summon 2 1/1 microcopters. You play that. This is a 3-star card. If you play this first, you're going to have 5 power on the board, which you can distribute through 3 separate minions. Even if you're behind, you're paying 3 mana for a 1/2 and 2 1/1s, and that's a perfectly fine 3-drop. It's not like a great 3-drop, but it's a 3-drop that is playable. And that's not even including that it may buff mechs. You may get the hot air balloon, which is a mech, and end up buffing it with this. Or you may get that card that gets +1/+1 in rush, the 3 mana +1 3 mana 3/3 +1/+1 in rush if you have a mech like this mech. So yeah, this is going to be a good card, 3 stars. Lightforge Zealot. If your deck has no neutrals, equip a 4/2 True Silver Champion. Problem with this is your deck is going to have neutrals because this is Arena, unless you get that really weird 2 mana 3/2 turn your deck into a class card, so 1-star card. Like, there is a very minor consideration for fatigue, but nah. Nosdorma, that's Einless. Set each player's mana crystals to 10 mana crystals. So I think this is a 5-star card. I compare it to Flame Wreath Faceless. Let's say you play this on turn 4. So what you're doing is you're giving your opponent. Let me go over my review here because I explain it better in there. If you play this on turn 4, you're getting an 8 mana card. So the downside is for 1 turn, your opponent is going to get 2 extra mana to deal with this. So you're paying 4 mana to get an 8 mana effect. So you're plus 4 mana. And the downside is your opponent gets a 2 mana bonus on you. So effectively on turn 4, this is a card that's going to net you 2 mana. And then it gets better as the game goes on, and as late in the game, 4 mana 8/8 is pretty powerful. So obviously that's going to be insane. So yeah, as I said, 1-star card. I don't think it's broken because if this does get removed and your opponent gets the develop behind it, then there is a problem. But yeah, really good card. Amber Watcher, 5 mana 4/6, Battlecry Restore 8 health. So in my written review, I compared this to Shroombror, which was 4 mana 4/4, Battlecry Restore 4 health. A 5 mana 4/6 is better than a 4 mana 4/4, but it's not that much better comparatively. And Restore 8 versus Restore 4, if we're talking a minion, there's really no real difference. If we're talking a face, that doesn't really matter until the late game. So it's one of these things where, yes, it's better, but it's not really that much better. So I think ultimately 4-star card, obviously really good, but it doesn't really do anything. And if you're at full health on turn 5 and you have board control and your minions aren't damaged, this card's not doing anything. It's a 5 mana 4/6. Lightforged Crusader. If your deck has no neutral cards, add 5 random Paladin cards to your hand. This is a 2-star card. That's a War Golem. Actually 1. Yeah, high 1, low 2. So the one case, this is actually a case where if you're in fatigue and you have this card, this could be a thing. I don't think you're going to get to fatigue, but that is an edge case for this, and I would say this is decent. Because add 5 random Paladin cards to your hand for that is fine. But yeah, it's basically a War Golem that's high 1, low 2. All right. We go over here to Priest. So one sec, go over the Priest cards here. Whispers of Evil. Add a lackey to your hand. So this is obviously a random lackey. So lackeys are really good. So yeah, this one, it's a 3-star card. A lackey by itself, really good. Even a random lackey by itself is worth that much. Disciple of Galakron card, not in Arena. Envoy of Lazul, look at 3 cards, guess which one's your opponent's hand to get a copy of it. So the way this works, if you're unaware, is it picks 2 cards that started in your opponent's deck that are not in their hand right now, and it picks 1 card in their hand, which can include a card that was discovered or generated through something like a Thoughtsteal or Devour Mind or anything like that. So I compare this to Curious Glimmerroot, and I think Glimmerroot is by far the better card because number 1, early in the game, if you play the Glimmerroot on turn 3, you can figure out which class cards are bad and you can just get rid of those. And you can't really do that because all of these cards are not bad cards. With Envoy of Lazul, they're all good cards because they're cards you drafted. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2, a 3-mana 3/3 is much better than a 2-mana 2/2. Reason number 3 is that with the Glimmer Root, you can definitively, like if you see a card played, you know 100% that card was the card that was played. With Envoy of Lazul, you need to know 2 other cards were played. And even then, there might be a copy, like multiple copies of those cards in the opponent's deck. So you cannot rule out or say 100%, oh, I know it's this card. So ultimately, like, I thought Glimmer Root was like a 3 to 4 star card. I think this is just a 2-star card. Yeah, it can work, but I don't think it's reliable enough. Breath of the Infinite. Deal 2 damage to all minions. If you're holding a dragon, only damage enemies. So yeah, Power Crept Volcanic Potion. This is obviously a really good card. This is a 4-star card. Like if you're holding, like if you're priest, the only damage enemies is not really that relevant. Like you can manipulate health. For mage, the damage your own enemies is much more relevant. But as priest, you can manipulate health. So the bonus from this is not really all that great. So the power is just in the effect, and that effect is a 4-star effect. Mind Flayer Karj. This is did I write? Yeah, 6-star. Yeah, this is a 6-star card. I accidentally did. Yeah, this is a 6-star card. Choose an enemy minion, summon a new copy of it. This is a 3-mana 3/3, Death Rattle, summon whatever. So if you summon a 3-drop, it's a 3-mana 3/3, Death Rattle, summon a 3/3. If it's a 6-drop, it's like a 3-mana 6/3/3, Death Rattle, summon a 6/6. Like, obviously broken. And like the only hindrance is on turn 3, you probably can't get that much effect out of it, and that it does not actually do anything the turn it's summoned. So like if you have Sap or if you have a Silence effect, you can negate that. But yeah, 6-star card. Bait Weaver, not going to be in Arena. Grave Rune, give a minion Death Rattle, summon 2 copies of this. Ancestral Spirit is give a minion 2 mana, give a minion Death Rattle, summon a copy of it. And that card, it was situationally good if you had the right cards, but it was never really a great card. And so this is a much less flexible version of that with a much higher upside immediately. But this basically is reliant on you getting something big to stick and then putting it on that. And I don't think that's reliable. Like, I think this is like high 1, low 2 overall. I think it costs too much mana no matter how good this effect is. Chronobreaker, Death Rattle. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions. So obviously insane card if you're holding a death dragon, but because this is a Death Rattle and not a Battle Cry, this effect is a lot worse than it would seem. Like we've seen deal damage to all minion effects before, and none of them have been really great cards. And we've seen those attached to taunts, so they had to go off. So with this one, if you play this, your opponent can just like value trade and then kill this off, and even if it blows up their board, then it doesn't really do all that much. So even if it blows up their board, they've already gotten their value off, so the effect is kind of mitigated. Now, because if you're holding a Death Rattle, this is basically a 7/5. That's obviously dragon. That's obviously insane. And because your opponent doesn't know whether you have a dragon, so they have to treat it like it is something that can deal 3 damage to all minions. So there are positives to this, but I ultimately think that this card is only going to be about a 3-star card. Just because, number 1, you're not going to reliably have dragons. Number 2, the effect is a lot worse than it seems at first glance. Time Rip, Galakrond card, not going to be in Arena. Galakrond card, not going to be in Arena. Roshan the Infinite, play all cards your opponent played last turn. So, I don't know how Battle Cries work with this, because I saw people review this, like I saw the Vicious Syndicate review of it, and it said that the play is not going to trigger Battle Cries, which makes no sense because it says play. But in any case, this is an 8/8, and if your opponent played 10 mana worth of stuff, it's an 8/8 plus an additional 10 mana. And it's Arena, so that 10 mana worth of stuff is going to be minions. Like this is obvious, this is completely busted in Arena. Like in Constructed, things are weird enough that maybe it will not be as synergistic, but in Arena, this is like a high 6-star card. This is like one of the best cards in the set. And now we got Rogue here. So, Bloodsail Flybrewer. Battlecry, add 2 1/1 pirates to your hand. Any one drop that adds anything to your hand is a good card. There's a Paladin card, Dragold's Jailer, which was a perfectly fine card, and that was 2 mana with a Death Rattle at 2 mana 1/1 with a Death Rattle at 3 1/1s to your hand, and that was a perfectly fine card. And this is a much better version of it. So I think that this is honestly a 4-star card. I think I don't think it's as good as Swashbuckler. I think Hearth Arena underrates Swashbuckler, but I don't think it's as good as Swashbuckler. But because of the pirate effect, because there is mild pirate synergy in this set, that this is a card you want. Dragon's Horde, discover legendary minion from another class. So I mentioned before, legendaries are in general worse than the average card, but number 1, this is discover, and number 2, this is from another class, which gets rid of neutral legendaries, which are really the thing that brings the legendaries down. So it's 1 mana, discover a pretty good card from another class. And because it's discover, there's a lot of cards that are rated poorly on Hearth Arena because of the synergy aspect. And if you get one of those cards and you have the synergy, then hey, you can use it. So ultimately, I'm going to say this is a 3-star card. And the only reason is because of this. All 1 mana discovers have a limitation no matter what level they pull from, because you're paying a 1 mana tax on whatever you get. So for this, I think it's good. I think it's about as good of a 1 mana discover card as it is, but 3 stars. Praise Galakron, not in Arena. Seal Fate, invoke a Galakron, not in Arena. Necreum Apothecary combo, draw a Death Rattle minion from your deck and gain its Death Rattle. I think that, okay, so combo-wise, compare this to Elven Minstrel. You're getting a better body, you're drawing a Death Rattle, and you're getting a Death Rattle, but you're only getting 1 card. I think that this is a high 3, low 4 level card. Like, I think you're going to get enough Death Rattles, I believe, to justify this card. And obviously the body is a lot better than a simple 3/2. Gaining the Death Rattle, if you get a really powerful Death Rattle, like if you get a Bone Drake and you get to get a random dragon off this card, this is going to be really, really good. But yeah, high 3, low 4. Umbral Skulker, Galakron card, not going to be in Arena. Stowaway. If the cards are in your deck that didn't start there, draw 2 of them. So, like, there's not going to be cards in your deck that you didn't draw. Shuffle effects, like, maybe Valdori Strider, maybe Wax Dread can justify this, but otherwise, no, so 1-star card. Wax Dread, 5-star card here. Yeah, it's not 6 just because it doesn't do anything. But Death Rattle, summon a candle on your deck that resummons Wax Dread when drawn. So 5 mana, 7/5. This is great stats for a 5-drop. So the candle, if you draw that, that resummons Wax Dread. The problem is that you have to draw that, and number 1, and number 2, Rogue's a tempo class, so they're not really a class that needs to draw. So the chance that you're going to draw this candle is relatively low. Like, I think it's probably like about maybe 10% of the time that you'll be able to draw this. So like maybe 1 game it'll win from that. But yeah, really just a really good card for the stat line. And the potential, if this does hit, is great, but I don't think I can say it's like high 5 or low 6 or anything like that, because it doesn't actually do anything the turn is played. Candle Breath, draw 3 cards, costs 3 less when you're holding a dragon. So 6 mana, draw 3 cards, that's playable. That's like probably a low 2, high 1. If you're holding a dragon, this becomes a 3 mana Arcane Intellect. But again, Rogue's Tempo class. Rogue does not want to draw. Even drawing 3 cards for 3 mana, that's a lot of value, but you want to tempo. It is probably going to be better if you have a dragon to play that dragon and get more tempo than it is to spend 3 mana to draw 3 cards that you may or may not be able to play. So ultimately, for me, 2-star card. Flick Sky Shift. Destroy minion in all copies wherever they are. It's a 6 mana Vilespine, so it's basically a Vilespine Slayer. 6 stars, obviously broken card. Galakron. Galakron is not going to be in Arena. Okay, that does it for which classes I did. Paladin, Priest, Rogue. After this, I will do Shaman, Warlock, and Warrior. And remember, if you want more in-depth card reviews, or if you want me to talk about how I think each class is going to do in the meta, you can just go down there. take a look at my card review, and I will see you guys for the next video.